working through our demonstration here, we're going to move on to sort of the construction area of the life cycle. And so here again, I'm going to go ahead and reconfigure my map. I'm going to just turn off parcels just to kind of simplify the map a little bit. We're also going to turn off the modification log, and we're going to instead turn on this layer that's called CVR RFI. CVR is an acronym for a construction variance request. And essentially what we're talking about here is there is something happening in the field during construction in real time that is going to impact the sort of design of how it was supposed to be built, right? And that construction contractor needs to have the capability to be able to seek feedback immediately on something that they want to change about the design or about the installation or whatever is going to happen. They need to be able to get that feedback immediately. And they also need to be able to incorporate the necessary parties, right? So depending on the variance that may be being requested, it could be that we need to pull environmental in, or that we need to pull land in, or engineering in, or whoever it is. But certainly in any case, at least the project manager needs to be aware of the potential change and approve that potential change and communicate with that construction contractor. And the key here again is that, you know, it's not necessarily just the PM and the contractor. There could be others involved as well. So let's make sure and do it in a way that everybody can see the same information at the same time. So with that in mind, I'm going to just type in a new search term up here. And in this case, we're going to just type in the search term 3 plus 4,600, which really just means at milepost 3 and then 4,600 feet downstream of it. Very common way of referencing locations along a pipeline project. And so I just type that in, and then I go ahead and hit the enter button here, and immediately again, we get some address results here from Google, but also every place in the current map where that milepost plus footage exists. And so I picked the one on the line that we're working on here, and now it's zoomed me again immediately to that milepost plus footage. If we wanted to reference a location by engineering station number, we could have done that as well. Certainly it supports searching by both methods. And so also at this location now we have one of those CVR items. So it's this yellow triangle, and again I could click on it. I could have equally as easily typed in the CVR number here. We could have also just typed in some keywords associated with that CVR to zoom and search to this particular location. So in this particular case, it looks like the construction contractor is actually asking for a little bit heavier duty access road, right? They've noticed that this access road is heavily used, probably because it's ease of access, and they want to make it a little bit bigger, allow some heavier truck traffic, and then also a turnaround there as well. So let's go ahead and kind of review, you know, what the construction contractor is actually asking for here. So we can zoom and pan our map a little bit, and as we zoom out, we can see that the access road is actually not very far from the county road. But the construction contractor has also told us here that it's actually really easy access from I-25. So let's just get some driving directions and just see exactly what he means, right? So I just click on my driving directions button there, and you can see that I'm doing this webinar here today from approximately Fort Collins, and we could see the directions that we would need to use to get to that exact location if we wanted to get there. Certainly if we were using a mobile device, it would have taken me immediately to turn-by-turn navigation so that I could have started that turn-by-turn navigation and navigated right out to the right-of-way. And I would also like to point out that about 20% of our traffic on Integra Link right now is through a mobile device, either a tablet type form factor or even a phone factor, or iPhone or telephone phone factor as well. But back over here in Integra Link, we can see that same route, and if we just zoom back into to where that CVR is, and then just zoom out just a little bit, we can see that those driving directions took us to where the end of the public road was, right? And then from there, it's an access road to get us the rest of the way in. But if we zoom out just a little bit more and pan over here, we'll also see that sure enough, they shoot straight up I-25, and then it's just one simple county road across all the way over to the right-of-way. So certainly from the construction contractor's standpoint, we understand how that makes really good sense to him to go ahead and let some of that heavier truck traffic navigate out to the right-of-way really, really easily without having to make a bunch of twists and turns down a bunch of farm roads or something like that. So in this case, again, seems like a pretty good idea. We'll probably just go ahead and approve this request, and we could access those exact same sort of approval mechanisms through this edit record button here, and and go ahead and approve that request as a field engineer or as a project manager. Certainly we would want to include land to make sure that the right-of-way agent went ahead and talked with the landowner and compensated them appropriately to get that bigger access road, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's just kind of keep moving through construction here and just reconfigure our map kind of one more time. I'm going to turn off CVR, and I'm first going to just turn on pipe tally and material tracking. And then if I zoom back out to the extent, we can start to see these green squares that show up on the map. So we've got surveyors out in the field, again with mobile devices, and every single time a joint of pipe is being offloaded off the back of a semi and laid down on the right-of-way, one of those guys is capturing that joint of pipe and saying, you know, essentially moving its logical location from the pipe yard or maybe in transit or whatever it was to laying now on the right-of-way. But the other thing that it tells us, right, is also it gives us a pretty clear picture of progress, right? We can see where stringing now has occurred as part of the construction on this project. And then as we continue to turn on additional layers, we can see not only stringing, but also where welding has occurred, right? So we can see some areas here where stringing has happened, but they haven't started welding it up yet. And other locations where these black darts are that we actually do have welding occurring as well. And to build on that even further, again, I just clicked in a location, but to build on that even further, we can actually see every single weld that's been captured in the system with its X-ray number here, the joint ahead and the joint behind, but then also a photograph of that particular weld, right? So we're starting to build, you know, an as-built system here that has sort of that traceable, verifiable, and complete component as well, all being done through Integra Link and visible in Integra Link as well.